today's webinar is on efficient water services for resilient cities by Jaladhi Vavaliya. Um, Jaladhi works as a senior program lead at the Center for Water and Sanitation, which is a part of the CEPT Research and Development Foundation. She works on performance measurement and monitoring aspects of urban water supply and sanitation. She has conducted various capacity building training for service level benchmarking in Indian cities, and was involved in various technical studies on non-revenue water. He has a bachelor's in environmental engineering from LD College of Engineering, Ahmedabad, and a master's in environmental planning from CEPT University, Ahmedabad.
So today's topic is efficient water services for resilient cities. So let's start with resilient cities. So as per the definitions given by the OECD, resilient cities are cities that have the ability to absorb, recover, prepare for future shocks in economic, environmental, social, and institutional. Resilient cities promote sustainable development, well-being, and inclusive growth. So when we talked about on future shocks, so like, are these resilient cities prepare and its preparedness for future shocks? So does the cities know the existing service levels provide to the citizens? Question comes in mind, like how often the cities monitor performance of basic services provided to the cities. So when we talked about future, but in present situation, how cities are managing the services. So in today's webinar, I will briefly cover the existing platform for performance assessment of basic water supply, wastewater and solid waste management services, and then I will also present some case studies on like how cities can achieve efficiency through reduction of non-revenue water and some other initiatives. So this is a management age where you cannot improve what you cannot measure. So same is applicable for the water and sanitation sector also. So if you don't measure the existing services in the cities, then you cannot improve. So what is getting better or what is getting worse, you cannot judge on that. So the performance assessment system, this is a vicious cycle, like because there is no information available on performance measurement. So monitoring at state and local level are not done, and then services deteriorates over a period of time. So because of the lack of information, cities cannot measure the service level improvements due to infrastructure initiatives. So the performance measurement past system approach is establish a system with the use of technology, and then based on the information, the decisions needs to be taken. So based on the data-driven decision-making process, you need to make a plans and invest in the instead of infrastructure, invest in such a way that your service levels are improved. And then again, like how much services are improved because of the various initiatives, you again need to measure your performance. So this performance measurement, monitoring, and improvement, it's a vicious cycle. This system has been, so we have started develop an online system in 2011 and started with 2 states, Gujarat and Maharashtra. We cover all urban local bodies with support from the government of Gujarat and government of Maharashtra. And then this also aligned with the national service level benchmark framework of ministry. This module is also endorsed by the earlier, it's a Ministry of Urban Development. Now it's Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and recommended states to use this online system. And later on, state government of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Telangana, they have consistently used this information since 2005. And Assam, we have cities of Assam have used for 1 year. So this has been used by 900 plus cities of diverse geographical and varied level of development. And this for Gujarat and Maharashtra, we have now 10 years of information available at a city and state level, and various analysis dashboards are also available. For more information, you can refer eas.org.in website. So in performance assessment, we have a main 5 themes. So each sector is assessed in these 5 themes. And these themes are access and coverage, equity in access to services, then service level and quality, efficiency in service operation, and financial sustainability. So there are main 32 key indicators across different themes, and then for each indicators we have a local action indicators, drill down indicators, which will help cities to identify the improvement actions. And this framework is aligned with the Government of India's service level benchmark framework. And in addition to SLB indicators, we have added aspects of equity. So access to water and sanitation services in slum, and performance of on-site sanitation system. In water supply, there are like main 10 indicators across various streams. And today I will broadly, the various case studies will be based on the efficiency in service operations. So efficiency is measured through extent of metering at in water supply connections, extent of non-revenue water, customer complaint redressal, and water supply collection charges. So I will broadly, various case studies are grouped into this in the aspects. So in online system, like cities enter the information based on the raw data available in the various hard copies or in a online system, and then based on the entered information, that information is processed and indicators are calculated, and various city and state level reports are generated at city level and state level. So based on this information, we have assessed, like if we look at the metering at various locations. So metering by using the water meters, so we have found out that out of 850 plus cities, only 196 cities are metering at source and treatment plants. So even bulk meters, so there is an absolute lack of bulk meters at source, treatment plant, and distribution stations. And when we go down in the service chain at the consumer end, then only like around 100 cities have consumer end meters. So I think metering is aspects of metering is very important. This will also, with the use of meters, cities can identify water losses in the transmission line. And if it's installed at the consumer end, then it will help in providing equitable distribution of water, and even also help in identifying water losses in the distribution network. So second aspect is non-revenue water. So this non-revenue water is also thirst area for improvement in water sector. And this reform is also part of the Amrit scheme. And under smart cities, cities use various smart solutions for leak identification and preventive maintenance. So when we talked about non-revenue water, so non-revenue water includes 3 components. It's first, when we say non-revenue water, people think it's a leakages, but along with losses leakages, it also includes free supply, and then come apparent losses, which is like illegal consumption, or if a city is charging based on the water meters, then inaccuracy in the water meters. So non-revenue water has a three component. Unbilled water, which is free supply provided in parks, government buildings, education institutes, uh, uh, public stand posts through public stand post and tap connections. Apparent losses is meter inaccuracy and illegal connections, consumptions. And real losses is physical losses through the pipelines, valves, storage tanks. Uh, so how we can reduce the NRW? So to reduce the NRW, we need to know how much water is being lost, where it is being lost, and why it is being lost. And based on these three questions, strategies can be introduced. So one needs to do a cost benefit analysis. So if this much amount of water will be saved, then what investments are required and what will be the uh, return on this investment, and how we can maintain the system and sustain the achievement we have gained. So this is not like, okay, one time we have reduced the NRW, so it will be a same constant NRW. So need to sustain this achievement targets also. As over time, as pipeline networks will be old, then there will be more leakages and susceptible to more losses. So to improve efficiency, water audit, energy audit studies are required. Based on this results, need to do a leak detection. So estimate the water quantity. So need to measure the water quantity lost in transmission line, distribution line. Even there is a linkages between water losses and pressure management. So if your pipe are very leaking heavily, then it will reduce your pressure. And at the consumer end, people will receive less quantity of water with less supply, with less pressure. So losses and pressure are aligned together. And to regularly monitor the water losses, cities need to install bulk meters at various sources, treatment plant and distribution stations, and install consumer end meters. Now I will present various city case studies, like how they have measured NRW, and based on the values, they have addressed or taken various initiatives to improve efficiency. We have done a preliminary water audit exercise in selected cities of Gujarat. And then based on this exercise, we have found NRW value varies from 35% to 77%. So most of the is because of the lack of metering at various levels, they just report NRW as like 20 to 25%. But in actually, when we do the measurement, the values are very high level. So we have developed a simple methodology to measure the NRW. It's like the steps are written here. So first is like need to do a preliminary visits, identify the various field measurement points. And then in this, we cover all the measurements. So water supply sources, various sources, treatment plant, distribution stations are measured to portable flow meters. And then at the consumer end, we have installed a temporary water meters and measure the water quantity for full supply hours in a day. And then based on this measurement, we have estimated the NRW value. This consumer and survey has been done in strategic sampling size methods, and it's not covering one entire zone. Instead of that, we have randomly collected samples based on the various water distribution catchment area, and then prepared a draft report. And then this summary report has been shared with elected representatives, councillors, administrators, and then final report has been prepared. So surprisingly, like in average 50% is non-revenue water, and in that around 36% is in the distribution network. These losses are like very small amount of losses will also, like if it's continuously happen, then at the end that quantity is very high. We also found out that even in like 5% losses are in the transmission line. So this losses, transmission line losses can be easily identified and repaired. And based on this exercise, we have prepared a strategy for NRW reduction. So if we look at the water balance diagram, then this unbilled authorized consumption, apparent losses, and free supply. So when you reduce this losses, then it will increase your revenue. It will, and how you can reduce this losses? Then there are various ways, like free supply needs to be monitored, and only like certain quantity needs to be supplied free. When you supply free, people will not value the water quantity, and then they tend to use freely. So wastage at the consumer end will happen. So to use the water judiciously, we need to monitor the free supply. We also need to identify and regularize illegal connections and prepare a meter checking and replacement plan. Many a time city have a water meters, but half of the meters are not working, or even the meter checking and replacement plan has not been prepared, so they were not aware about its accuracy. So need to start measuring meter checking and replacement plan need to do. If we look at the real losses, then leakage in transmission and distribution lines, leakage and overflow at storage tanks and at the service connections. So when you reduce this quantity, it will reduce your expenditure and increase revenue if water is supplied through the volumetric charges. Because reduction in this will increase your pressure head, and you need to pump less quantity of water. So this, if you reduce real losses, then your energy expenditure will also be reduced. And for improvement measures, you need to repair leaking valves. During my field visits, I have seen like many valves were leaking. And this leaking valves, this quantity are small, but it's leaking 24 hours. So when we calculate the amount, then it will be like all, when we sum up all leaking valves quantity, then it's like 3 to 4% of total loss NRW. So need to repair leaking valves, replace leaking pipelines. And for overflow of storage tank, need to create awareness in staff also. And the biggest difficult part is repairing in service connections. So cities need to prepare a step-by-step or ward-by-ward need to start checking the service connections, and poor quality of connections need to be replaced. So Rajkot city, so this city has city in Gujarat. So when we have done the preliminary water audit, then we found out like there is high losses in main transmission line, and then there is no accountability of water losses due to lack of metering. So cities has installed a real-time water loss monitoring system. They have installed water meters, pressure sensors, and all this transmission and water level transmitters. And this regularly gives a reading at the centralized computer. And then based on the quantity calculation, this gives a losses quantity. Like this pipeline has the highest losses. And after installing this system, they found out many illegal connections were directly taken from transmission line. usually water supply connection has been given from the distribution network, but people have taken connections directly from the transmission line, which runs water 24 hours. This city supplies only water for 20 minutes. So like some people enjoying benefit of 24 by 7 water supply, and then people who are taking a legal connections, they have only a 20 minutes of supply. So then city have uh, reduced the illegal connections and then reduce the losses in transmission lines. And they replace the leaking pipelines also. Then Surat. Surat have taken various initiatives, not only in terms of NRW, but even in terms of energy efficiency and establishing a standard operation and maintenance practices. So I think Surat initially in 2009-10, they formed a non-revenue water cell, NRW cell in the corporation. And this cell, the main purpose is they need to, based on the complaint received, they have started mapping a leakage on the map. So whenever complaint received, they have started monitoring. Okay, this complaint received from this area, from this pipeline. They repair that pipeline, and then they also record it on the map. And when next complaint of same area comes, then they again record complaints. So based on the complaint database, they have prepared a leak map, and then based on this map, leakage pipeline they'll replace, and they are able to reduce 30% of leakage complaints in all zones. And because of this, the frequent digging of roads are also they have avoided and improve the water distribution efficiency. The second initiative they have taken is energy efficient measures. So they have installed a wind energy turbine in Porbandar district in Saurashtra region. And then based on that wind, based on the electricity generated through wind energy, they received a subsidy in the water supply and wastewater services. They have also does a re-engineering of water supply networks, so that they need to, based on the topographical conditions, they have re-engineering some pipelines, and therefore they have reduced the pumping hours. They have also established a standard operation and maintenance practices. So in that, the regular electrical and mechanical preventive and activity has been done, and there, because of that, the frequent breakdown has been reduced. They have also done a computerized material management system. So like they don't need to give a request for procurement of some valves or some equipment. They can just check in their inventory, and if it's available in another zones, then they can easily use that equipment. They have also appointed a qualified instrumentation staff and laboratory testing and service systems, so that all the equipments they can check and repair as and when required. Navi Mumbai. I think Navi Mumbai, so most of the cities, when they talked about e-governance system, it's most of the time it's from government to citizens aspects. But the internal management, internal operations of water supply services, only few cities have a e-governance system for internal operations of water and sanitation services. So Navi Mumbai is one of them. So for them, so from source, they have a Moorbe dam. So from there to a water consumer line. So they have installed bulk flow meters at various points. and at the consumer end there were water meters. And all the systems are SCADA based system, and then from bulk supplies point of view, from production, treatment and distribution, hourly reports are generated at the centralized level. They are also analyzed, and if it's uh, high losses, then they report to uh, the engineers. And for water consumptions, monthly they have automated meter reading systems. So instead of manual recording, the meter reading has been done automatically at the monthly level through centralized laboratory. They also does a water quality test, and so all these are computerized in the e-governance systems. There were multiple mechanisms to register complaints, and through telephonic, through online, and all complaints, whether it's redress or not. So all the redressal time is also been recorded in the complaint module. So Navi Mumbai has internal system for operation and maintenance of water systems. Then last case is for the Malkapur. Malkapur is a Nagar Panchayat in Maharashtra, which supplies 24/7 water supply since 2010 in entire city. I think we have a pilot in some of the pilot area in some cities, for example, Nagpur or Amravati or Hubli, Dharwad. So Malkapur being a small city, so they have an advantage of smaller cities, and so they have covered entire city for 24/7 water supply services. So the main area is strong political and administrative thing. Because of that, they have been able to achieve a 24/7 water supply services. Uh, During the project implementation phase only, there's done a tremendous citizens awareness services, and all the citizens point of view were taken into project formulation stage only. So awareness generation drive is key component for their successful. In Malkapur, what they have done, so they've used MDP pipeline, which is like a single length pipeline, and the connection has been done through the P-tapping system. So only like qualified plumbers can only do this connections, and they have given a connection to all the consumers. So it's 100% water supply. All citizens are connected with the water supply connection, water supply network, and there is no illegal connections in the cities. They have automated meter reading system. So instead of manual water meter reading, the monthly water quantity used is captured through the wireless services. And because of this, they have reduced the energy expenditure. They have reduced the operation and maintenance cost. The NRW was high in like around 30 to 40%. So now the NRW is 8 to 9% they're able to achieve. And because of that, the cost recovery is also improved. And they receive now less complaint. Besides this water online system, we also have various tools for planning and monitoring. So this tools are like performance improvement plan or SANI plan tool, which help city or consultant to make a feasible plan. So instead of only infrastructure oriented, this is a service oriented plan, and it will also give projections like how much finance it will take, and whether based on the ULB's financial capacity, whether they will able to sustain the O&M expenditure or not, how much tariff they need to levy. So this is very comprehensive plan. We have also developed an integrated fecal sludge and septage management toolkit. We have a target setting model. So like if you have a current existing infrastructure plan, then how much your service level will be improved. So it will, based on your previous service level information, it will also project like next year if you don't do any projects, then this will be your service level. Then tariff setting model is to cover the 100% cost recovery, how much tariff you need to levy. And then we also have a standard data format. So we have found out that many places, because of the lack of standardized documentation process, data has not been recorded properly. So how cities can improve the information system. We have also developed water security toolkit. So this toolkit has various tools for starting from assessment to monitoring and implementation. And these tools are used for government agency, financial institutions, such as academicians and consultants. We have also done various capacity building workshops for that. So, okay, thank you.